just wondering, can you take this off now? Hi and welcome to a review of the beautiful Rayvolt Cruzer. I really wanted to do this review because the Rayvolt Cruzer is a very special bike, and even though I like mountain bikes the most, this is actually by far one of my favorite bikes. I would really like to own one, but practically it's not an option for me, unfortunately. Now once again I borrowed this bike from Electric Shock from my friend Roberto. Very cool bike store right here in Playa Flamenca in Costa. What's unique with this bike is of course its styling. I don't know what to call it. Is it a Californian beach cruiser? Is it a punk steam thing? Or is it a sort of an Indian from the 30s or 40s? Anyway, I really like the styling, and right here form has taken over function in a good way, I think. And it's pretty nice to see what you can do as soon as you electrify bikes, because then you can really design them to be something different that an analog bike cannot be.
Rayvolt is based in Barcelona and has a few similar bikes in the lineup. One of them is the slightly cheaper Clubman, and also worth mentioning is the newly launched Torino. Both of those bikes are based on the Cruzer, which is the bike that looks the best in my opinion. There are of course accessories you can buy to style both yourself and your Cruzer the way you want. There is even a second seat available that can be mounted over the rear wheel. Then there's some tech stuff available as well, even a torque sensor for better motor control.
And we should be pretty lucky that this bike is electrified, because it weighs in at 32 kilos, something like that. And it's a very long bike. Everywhere you go with it, people are looking. Comfort-wise, this bike has not got a suspension. Kind of looks like it if you look at the front of it, but that's just design. But if you look back here on the saddle, there is actually some sort of suspension support, or whatever you might call it. But what really makes the difference how this bike rides are the tires, which are 26-inch tires. They are 3-inch in width, which in mountain bike terms makes this a plus tire. So it's the same tire back and front. This tire makes the ride very comfortable, and I did test this bike on gravel roads as well, and I was actually surprised how well it worked there as well. Yeah, everywhere I go people turn their heads and they stop and they want to know more about the bike. So I guess if you're a shy person, this is not a bike for you, but it's really amazing how much presence this bike has. And even I think non-bike people really appreciate this design of this bike. Now technically this bike may not look that much when you take a first look at it, but it does have a hub motor. It says Rayvolt on it, but it's actually a Bafang motor. It's a Chinese motor. It's not a bad thing. Bafang is very big in the industry and they make very nice hub motors. And the batteries is mainly Panasonic, I think, and Samsung. So the batteries are high quality batteries, and the motor is also a high quality motor. And the brakes on this bike are kind of unique. They are branded Rayvolt, probably something else underneath. So what's unique about this brake is that when you're using the brake handles, it first starts to regenerate the batteries. So it actually takes some energy and put it back into the battery for extended range. And when you push a little harder, the real disc brakes are engaging.
When starting the Cruzer, there's a throttle assist to get you rolling the first few meters. The bike is heavy and there's only one gear, so that function is a welcome addition, especially when starting uphill. Once on the way, the 250 watt and 50 Nm motor will propel you comfortably up most hills. There's also a 100 Nm motor available, which can be useful if you live where there are lots of ups and downs. There is an option for a torque sensor to control the motor in a more refined way, which is a nice feature. Where I tested the bike, it was mostly flat, and once I was on my way, I didn't feel that much need for a torque sensor. It's nice though that the technology we recognize from the mid-drive motors also can be fitted to this motor type. The top speed is nothing to brag about. There's only one gear and the bike is quite heavy, so the Cruzer justifies its name in that regard. For fast commutes, you would be better off with another choice of bike. Since the handlebar is swept far backwards, the seating position is comfortable, but not very efficient. Here are 3 annoying things with the Rayvolt Cruzer. The Cruzer is actually pretty advanced compared to other hub drive bikes, which is almost all good. The annoying part is the dependency of the app to get the bike started. We experienced a bit of a problem before we could film this review. I'm sure there are and will be workarounds, but I just get this feeling. Would the bike be possible to start in 5 or 10 years from now, when all operating systems and phones are different? Don't get me wrong, I do like the size of this bike, but it makes it difficult to park and move about in tight places or buildings. You really need a garage or a shed to park your precious Cruzer in. The Cruzer is built with a form over function approach, which I really like. There are, however, some tendencies of the front wheel washing out when the asphalt is dirty and corners are tight. Nothing alarming, but something to be aware of. The weight is shifted rather far back on the Cruzer. Here are 3 good things with the Rayvolt Cruzer. It's easy to see that a lot of thought has gone into this bike. As soon as I see a hub motor e-bike, I immediately think it's got a cheap motor and batteries. But this is not the case with the Cruzer. The rest of the bike and the accessories for it seem to be of high quality. The battery has got 500 watt-hours, which gives the Cruzer a range of about 40 kilometers, which isn't bad. And there's an option for dual batteries too, which effectively doubles the range. This is a bike that you buy with your heart. It will not replace your existing bikes, but it sure will put a big smile on your and other people's face every time you take it for a ride. The best thing with the Rayvolt Cruzer is not the advanced technology or comfortable riding position, it's the looks and the way the bike makes you feel. Don't go and buy an expensive sports car. Go ahead and get this. I can assure you that you will feel like $1,000,000 every time you go out on a ride.